Howdy, everybody. I'm Thomas Blair.
I'm Mark Halash.
And this is the March 2018 ACE Q&A, where we answer all the questions from our development partners for you. Okay, sped up skill training. While blasting through the skill training, it occurred to me that your new ability to change training speeds could be used to improve the new user experience. If you're only able to use it on single nodes, then you should speed up the very early stages of the basic exploration tree. That would get super confusing, I think, if we're constantly ratcheting up and down the speed.
Right.
Also, we have the ability to do that by just lowering the XP required for a node. We don't need to speed up the rate at which you train. So that's probably something that we're not going to be doing because we could already do that. Okay, next question. Cooking ideas. Someone sent in a bunch of cooking ideas. The stat food that gives small item buffs for short durations. They really like the blood worms. Could we see something like brain food, soul food, hearty food, carrots that improve eyesight? I guess we do have the
we do have the
Farsight set. Yeah. So other stat foods that somehow tie into the theme of the stat they boost. A deplorable feast that has a number of charges.
Deplorable feast.
A deployable feast.
Deployable feast.
Did I say deplorable? Or are you just, he's sugar high. He's eaten so much sugar this morning.
So much sugar.
So we kind of have the feast idea with the campfires already.
Right.
So if you drop a survivalist campfire, everybody in the area gets, their chicken ticker goes back up. And I could see us making advanced survivalist camps that will give buffs eventually.
So I guess the short answer is sure.
Yeah.
We most certainly will, it's really, once we get down to making that particular content, you'll definitely see more.
Yeah. It's just we haven't really fleshed out cooking. And we're going to need meat from the animals, which we're starting to see come online. So all of this is coming. Thanks for the ideas. Keep them coming. Okay, Alchemy experimentation. The Alchemy training tree has a lot of the same experimentation nodes at the other crafting trees, but Alchemy has very few things that you can actually experiment on. As far as I know, toxins are the only thing. Actually, though, Alchemy has the Philosopher's Stone, which is used for vessels. So they have one of the more important pieces of customizable crafting things, which is used to enhance all of the vessels, which I know you guys haven't been, no one's been crafting them because there's no reason, right?
But soon.
So at 5.5, the crypt is coming online. You'll be able to equip those vessels. So people are going to start pushing how good they can make the base vessels that you go into. And the Philosopher's Stone is super important. So in fact, I've been making my Necromancer in test also an Alchemist because those two synergize very well because they make the Ambrosia, they make the Philosopher's Stone. And again, as we get further and add more content to all of these crafting professions, we're going to be making tweaks and adding more things to make them interesting.
Sure. So short answer, there's going to be a lot more to make with Alchemy in the future, but the Philosopher's Stone is going to be that's going to be a big seller.
That's the big money item right now. Well, and then consumables. I mean, obviously. Okay. Next question. Getting murdered while loading into the world. In the current gameplay, people are camping enemy faction keeps since there are no guards in the keep. You can log in and you're basically dead before you load it. Well, in 5.5, we now have you log in and vulnerable for 20 seconds and it's working properly. And if you do any offensive action, it instantly strips that buff. So that should cover all the loading.
Right.
Basically, you can log in, see around what's going on, and react from there. So you shouldn't be dead when you log in. You'll have that invulnerability timer. And again, you shouldn't be able to exploit it because it will go away if you do anything offensive. Okay, next question. Right now, walls are extremely frustrating.
I hate walls too.
Right now walls are,
tear down those walls!
They're all around us. Anyways, so what ended up happening on test, and I don't know if you heard, actually this is live, what ended up happening is someone set the campaign to no destruction.
Ah, yes, Ghost Army.
So, and for whatever reason, Ghost Army was the only thing that wasn't obeying those rules. So the only thing that you could damage fort walls with was Ghost Army. So we've since fixed that particular bug, and it shouldn't be a problem in the future. And then Mark Borland went in and fixed Ghost Army, so it obeys rules. So in case we bring up a campaign in the future, So that was a side bug, and we'll work our way around it. It's already been fixed, but hopefully no one in the future will press that button when they're creating the campaign. Next, treated leather. Treated leather requires durable leather that doesn't drop from mobs in the game. Only way to get this is a chest at a POI. Actually, spiders are going to start dropping. Spiders will drop your durable. Every patch, as we add more and more NPC types, more and more leathers are going to come online. And then even on the test server, we're about to start putting in vendors that you can just go grab the resources from to test. Test Center is going to start feeling more like a test center and less like a preview to what's coming to live. Because we want you to get over there, we want you to craft a lot of stuff and find all the breakages for us and not have to go through the other parts of just getting it, because we want to see that stuff is actually working. So in many cases, now that vendor tech is coming online, you're going to start seeing, we're just going to put up vendors that have stuff, and we're going to start getting rid of the weapon racks, because the weapon racks dump a whole bunch of crap in your inventory. Like every single weapon, I believe, when you're like, I just want a two-hander, it gives you 20 weapons. So now you'll just be able to go up to a vendor and just grab the two-hander that you want. Same with, I just want to grab this leather type to test it out. I'll just grab the leather, do a bunch of crafting, and see what my crafting ranges are. So things are getting better, and it just takes time. So you will see that coming to test in 5.5. And then when it goes to live, it won't have those vendors in there. It'll be just the regular gameplay experience. However, everything should have been tested. Okay, more variety between item tiers when it comes to looks. This is obviously not a top priority, but I'd personally like to see more variety between item tiers when it comes to visuals. Right now, a tier 4 common weapon looks exactly the same as a rare, epic, legendary, whatever. Yes, so, and that's just where we are in the art pipeline. I know lots of weapons are coming in soon, which means you guys are going to start to see a lot of variety, and you'll be able to design your weapons to what you look like, or what you want them to look like. And, but yeah, we don't have an endless supply of art that we're not using. We use everything that we have. We really like to use all of the buffalo because that's what we have. So we clearly don't have enough of an art budget to make lots and lots of armor types, but you will see lots and lots of weapon types. Next question, one-handed versus two-handed weapon crafting. It seems to me that two-handed weapons end up with a lot more attack power than dual one-handed weapons combined, even though the total material cost is about the same. Maybe, however, we are using the exact same amount of resources in the recipes for them.
Right. So two-handed should have pretty much twice the requirements.
Yes.
And should give you pretty much twice the amount of stat potential.
And what I didn't know was that axes and maces had an extra metal bar in them, which were artificially boosting their stat potential, which has been changed for 5.5 so that it's fair across the board.
And so this is a good example of one of your questions leading to us discovering a bug and fixing it. So thanks.
Yes, thanks. But ideally, they should come up roughly the same because they're using the same amount of resources. And if they're not, then we'll look at that. And if there's any more recipes in there that have extra components that we somehow missed, we definitely would like to know about those.
Yes, and just to be clear, too, by the same, I think Blair means that 2 one-handers will equal 1 two-hander.
Yeah, I think the amount of stat-giving resources in a one-hander is 8, and the offhand is 8, and a two-hander is 16. So, I mean, that's what we balanced it around. So, and if there's something funky going on in the math, then we can definitely investigate that. If it's the weirdness of the experimentation, or just the probability of you landing an amazing twice as much for each weapon. But, again, always looking to fix bugs and make things better. Okay, next question. Soul powers and ultimate abilities. I like having different ultimates that cost different amounts of soul power since not all these abilities are created equal, which is why we went to that system. However, I don't like everyone having the same soul power pool, allowing some classes to pre-charge 2 ultimates and use them back to back. Each class ultimate pool should be equivalent to the cost of their ultimate, so you can only have 1 ultimate pre-charged. I also think some of the soul power costs need to be adjusted. Well, we'll clearly be adjusting costs as time goes by and
as a balance
thing. The pre-charging, I guess in theory, if there was a 500.
I mean, there's really, so the whole pre-charging, you can't really pre-charge these without actually fighting in combat. So if someone is pre-charged, they've already done the work to charge it. By doing something else, they just happen to have not used it in that engagement.
Unless they found a way to charge them via non-combat methods.
Right, and if we identify things like that, then obviously we...
Clearly, if that's happening, we would like to know about it. Like if you hit a tree...
Yeah, if you hit a tree...
And it gives you soul charge, or...
You know, if you can jump off...
If you can jump, and it just starts giving you soul charge.
Whatever whatever the issue is.
Yes. So again, well, we always are looking to balance those things, and if there are things going on, we appreciate knowing about them. Okay, next question. Bleeds due to lack of mitigation in any fashion are extremely powerful. Yes, bleeds are intended to be that way. However, currently as they are on live, well, in fact, I pushed a hotfix last night. Yeah, it was okay. The hotfix went out that fixed the stat that was causing all of the problems with bleeds going from like 100 a tick to 900 to 1200 a tick. So we will find things like that all the time. You guys will figure out a stat that we just never looked at that's in there. It's like, oh, hey, look at what this thing's doing. Let's put it on every piece of my gear and then go out there.
I mean, a lot of this is coming out as a result of the accelerated skill training.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the reason we did this, is so we can find things like that. Letting people get further and deeper into the trees and reach the stats that we haven't
really tested in since we put them in the last 2 years. So
that's why.
That's why. And yes, and clearly we're finding bugs, and some of them will be way overpowered, and then we'll tune them and fix them. Yep. And by the time we make it through this entire pre-alpha alpha process, then there will be less bugs that people at the end of the product will ever see, and you guys will have sussed it out and helped us along the way, which is great. Okay, mitigation caps and armor pen. If I have mitigations that would reach 80% and I'm capped at 75%, and then my opponent has 25% armor pen, am I at 50 or 55% mitigation? I.e., am I getting credit for going over the 75 cap? And the answer to that is no. I'm at 75 regardless, because my character is capped at 75. Mark just has 25 in this case. Yes, he has 25. So I'm at 50. So I can't go over the cap. So, and the comment here was this means that there's a lot of armor pen in the game, which makes tanks feel less tanky, which may be a thing that we may need to address. But that's how it works. The cap is a hard cap. You don't get to go over the cap because we haven't built any over the cap style kind of thing yet. We might do that if we see that we need to do it, but that's how it works right now, and hopefully that clarifies it for you guys. Next question. If I'm at 75% mitigation from armor and I block as a knight, do I take 25% damage or 12.5% damage?
You would take 12.5% damage because the block bonus is on top of armor in addition to.
And the block bonus happens at the very bottom of the combat loop, and it just takes the final damage and just whacks it by 50% right now. So you're at 12.5% based on this. And that's why tanks will be so good once they're in full armor and they've got all of their mitigation stats that are coming on the new and improved shields. So shields in 5.5 are greatly improved over their 5.4 versions. So 5.5 is right on the cusp. Like we're here. So hopefully you guys will be seeing that coming on test. There's all kinds of improvements in there. We had time to do a lot of tweaks. There's bandages in there. There's death blow in there. There's resurrect powers in there for the support classes and the Templar. There's a whole lot of stuff that we really haven't talked about yet. So you guys will have a good time, and it will start to feel even more like a game, which is where we're shooting for. So there you have it. So thanks for coming out for the March 2018 Q&A. We will see you next time. Bye.